Hi, it's Greg Roworth here, and I'm glad you've made it to this webinar. We've got a lot to cover about what I think is the most important topic for business owners. We're going to cover the specific challenges that limit business success for almost every business owner I've ever met or heard about, and we're also going to reveal the critical strategies that leading business owners use to break down all the barriers to their success so that they can build their businesses so that it actually works for them and enables them to enjoy the freedom and prosperity that almost every business owner aspires to. So I want to thank you and welcome you and all the other attendees who are online and viewing this webinar that we're about to get underway with right now. By the way, I also want to tell you about the special bonus we're offering you at the end of this webinar. You're going to want to stick around right to the end of the presentation because that's when I'm going to give you the special link and access information to a web page where you'll be able to take immediate action to fast-track the successful growth and development of your business and get it moving towards a place where it makes unstoppable income while being run on autopilot. And of course, that's why we're all here. This webinar is about how to create a successful business. And what I mean by that is a business that really works, not one where you need to be involved every day for it to operate, but one that actually works for you independently, successfully and profitably so that you have the freedom and prosperity to live your life the way you really want. So if you're on the webinar, I expect you want to discover how to create a successful business that works without you. I expect you want to identify what's currently getting in the way and stopping you achieving the success you are looking for. And I expect you really want to discover how to break through the barriers that are limiting you and blocking the way to having the business and the lifestyle you really want. Those are the areas I'm going to cover in this webinar, and I know that you will get great value from the information I have to offer, and it's the sort of information I wish someone had told me about when I was first starting out in business, and even when I built my first business to a respectable level, when all sorts of pressures started to impact on how much further I could take it. That's the really vital information I'm going to share that no one else seems to focus on. And it's the reason why so many business owners get stuck in that difficult place where they seem to be working for their business that seems to have a life of its own and needs the owner to work too many hours to support it. You see, what I hear from many business owners is that they're overloaded and stressed by the effort to succeed in their businesses. They're frustrated by the struggle for sales and for getting enough customers to make ends meet. They're worn down by the constant pressure of having to work 50 and 60-hour weeks and many other pressures that they didn't expect to be part of the deal when they first started out in business. So the question I have to ask you is your business everything you wanted it to be? Or is it more like this? Do you feel trapped and feeling like you want to scream to be let out? If that describes you, you've probably been looking for the answers for some time, but you haven't yet found the way to solve your struggles and haven't discovered anyone who's been able to give you the answers you need. So if that's you, I just want to let you know that I'm glad you're here and I'm excited about what we've got to show you. Right now, I want to introduce myself. My name is Greg Roworth, and I've had over 30 years experience in running my own businesses. And for the past 20 years, I've been working with other business owners, mostly in the professional services area, to help them create extraordinary businesses. Now, you can see my experience and qualifications on the screen in front of you, but that doesn't really matter right now. Let me tell you the really important part of my background. You see, I used to work for a moron. He seemed to be working all the time, hardly ever took a day off, but the business was still struggling. Worse than that, he seemed to do just about everything wrong. One day I had this amazing revelation. I thought to myself, hey Greg, I reckon you could run a business better than this moron. And that was where it all started. Now the funny thing is this, about 4 years later, I'd grown my business and I had 9 employees. But at that time, I thought that all my employees were morons. Because of them, I was working about 70 hours a week and couldn't take any time off. Then one day my wife called me when she went to the bank to get some money out, and found that there wasn't enough money there. That was what some people call one of life's defining moments. My wife told me I needed to take a good hard look at myself and that I should get out of my business and get a proper job. The trouble was that I was so far in debt that taking a job for wages meant we would never get out of debt. Turning my business around was our only hope, but one thing was certain: I needed to do things differently if we could first survive and then ultimately succeed. So I guess I joined the dots. If I thought that my boss was a moron, and now I thought my employees were morons, what was the common denominator in that equation? I guess that had to be me. So something had to change, and it had to start with me. So I went looking for help, and I started reading a lot. That was really the turning point, and the reason I'm talking to you now is because of what I discovered along the way. But before I talk to you about that, let's put things into perspective first. I'm going to cover some very important information in this presentation that will really make a difference to you in your business and in your results. So I really want you to pay attention and to take notes. What you learn about creating a successful business won't make any difference unless you put your learning into action, and you will have a better chance of doing that if you write down what strikes you as important and what you will act on. The first point we're going to cover is the fundamental flaw that exists in most businesses. Following that, I will briefly review the 5 critical mistakes made by most business owners that create the fundamental flaw and keep business owners trapped in their business, having to work long, hard hours just to stay ahead. Then we'll get to the good news. About 5% of businesses actually have very different results from the norm. So we're going to take a look at how this top 5% operate and how they achieve real success. Then I'll take you through this proven 7-step system I've used to transform many normal businesses into successful businesses that have grown past the point where you are worrying about how you will survive and able to work on strategies to grow your business effectively. In other words, I'll show you how you can create a business that has unlimited potential. This system works for any type of business, no matter what profession you're in and no matter what size or age your business is. What you're going to learn, if you put it into action, will not only transform your business, but it will transform your life. Just imagine how different your life will be when you no longer have to be at work in your business because you're afraid it won't survive if you aren't there. Imagine having responsible employees who get the job done right, so that you don't have to worry about how much the mistakes are costing and how you're going to pacify the upset customers. Those things will be in the past. You will have the freedom and prosperity to have the things and do the things you've always wanted and to be able to enjoy them with your loved ones. And if that seems too much to hope for right now, you're going to want to pay attention as I show you exactly how I've achieved these results with many businesses just like yours, so that you know not only that it's possible, but that it's possible for you. I hope my passion for this really comes through because I know what it's like if you feel trapped in your business that isn't performing, and I know from personal experience how that can impact on your family. I know how committed you are, but I also understand it's not just you that's paying the price for all the hard work. Your loved ones also pay a price and suffer while you try to make your business work. So this is about more than just you and your business. The passion I have is that what we can achieve together in your business is incredibly rewarding, and you can have the life and prosperity you've always wanted, but also you can enjoy the positive impact your success has for the ones you love as well. And even beyond that, there's the positive impact on your employees and their families. So your success in business is vital to the lives of many people. So let's make it work. So because what I'm going to teach you can have so much impact, I need you to agree to and commit to 3 things that will ensure you get the best out of this presentation. So the 3 things are: first, stay actively engaged. No multitasking. Please close any other programs that might distract you. Turn off your email and your phone and focus what is coming up in the rest of this presentation. Secondly, take plenty of notes. Make sure you have a pen and paper so you can capture the critical points for you that you can turn into action steps. And third, stay right to the end and give feedback or ask questions using the box on your screen. Just type in your comments or questions and I'll do my best to make sure you get the answers, either during the webinar or I'll email you later. So if you're willing to honour those 3 small commitments, I want you to type "I agree" into that comment box right now. And let me see that you're with me. Great. Okay. It's good to see you want to get the best out of this webinar. So let's get on with what you were waiting for. First, a question. Did you start your own business with dreams of wealth and freedom? Or perhaps your dreams are about contribution, what you could give to your favourite cause or charity. When you started out, you wanted your business to grow and succeed so that it provided you with prosperity and the time to do anything you want to do in life. At least that's what most business owners I know tell me they want. How's that dream working out for you so far? Here, it's important to make a distinction. Some people start what they think is a business, but it's really just self-employment. A real business is an enterprise that works without the owner. Some people starting a real business also end up being self-employed, or in fact they're working for the business instead of making the business work for them. Let's check the statistics. In Australia, the most recent statistics from the ABS show us that about 85% of all businesses have less than 5 employees, and less than 4% have more than 20 employees. That's also a fairly consistent result around the world in developed countries. Just to clarify, we can see that 96% of all businesses have less than 20 employees. The question is, why? The answer can only be one of 2 things. Either it's very difficult to grow a business and there are some distinct barriers that limit the growth of businesses, or the other alternative is that business owners choose to keep their businesses small for other reasons. That is, they can achieve the income and lifestyle goals from running a small or medium-sized business. So, which alternative is more likely? Let's look at the income earned by business owners to see if that provides us with any clues. Well, statistics tell us that almost 50% of all businesses make less than $100,000 in profit. 80% of all businesses make less than $500,000 in profit. Only 6% make more than $2 million in profit. So the reality is that it seems to be difficult to make a good income as well. What about work hours? Here we see that 62% of business owners work more than 50 hours per week, with the average being 52 hours. So most business owners are working harder than their employees who work an average of around 34 hours per week. So lifestyle reasons don't appear to be the answer either. These stats indicate to me that there must be something wrong with how small businesses develop. What I've discovered in my years of research in this field is that there is in fact a fatal flaw in the way most small businesses are developed. Let's look at how most small businesses start and grow. It usually starts with one person, but sometimes there is a small group that starts the business. But typically in these cases, everyone does the same type of work. Then the business starts to grow. This is inevitable if the product or service is any good. Usually some people are brought in to help cope with the growing demand. Then with continued growth, some management and support people are added. We could keep adding people in the normal structure and our organisation chart would grow. But the way we draw this doesn't actually reflect the reality of the situation. The reality is that in most small businesses I know, the new people don't really support the owner. It ends up with the owner supporting the people in the business. Does anyone else understand that or have that experience? Type yes into the box if that's you. Okay, great. I can see some people have the same experience. Thanks for that. Let me just reassure you that you're in the right place on this webinar because I do have the answers you're looking for. But first, here's how most businesses end up. The growth is inevitably stifled because the business owner creates a business that is almost totally dependent on him or herself. The owner becomes trapped in the business, and the business won't work or survive for long without their active input. This may be how you feel. Even if you've successfully grown your business and it's profitable and providing you with a good income, you end up trapped because you feel like you can't take time off, because before too long your business will start to suffer and start to go downhill without you being there and in control. You have developed a fatal flaw in your business because it can't operate successfully for long without you. Not only that, but if you ever wanted to sell your business, it would be difficult to attract a high price because you are so fundamentally required by your business that it would be difficult for anyone else to come in and run it. This is a situation that most businesses end up in, and it's caused by 5 critical mistakes. The 5 critical mistakes get you here, where you're in the center of everything and have to keep working hard just to stay in business, instead of here, where most business owners would rather be. So having come this far, let's take a quick pause for some reflection. So far, I've painted a fairly bleak picture of what it's like in most small and medium-sized firms. But the important point here is, what is it like in your business? Do this for me now. Get your pen and paper and write down your answer to these 5 questions. I want your answers to be a number from 1 to 5, with 1 being totally dissatisfied and 5 being totally satisfied. Rate yourself somewhere in between for each of these questions. Here's question number 1. How do you feel about where you are in relation to the goals you had when you started in your business? Make these quick answers. Put down the first thought that comes into your head. An answer between 1 to 5. Here's number 2. How do you feel about the number of hours you work each week in relation to having the time you would like to spend with your family or on leisure activities? Rate that from 1 to 5. 1 totally dissatisfied, 5 totally satisfied. Question number 3. How do you feel about the financial performance of your business? Number 4. How do you rate your ability to take a holiday anytime you want? Answer that 1 to 5. Last one. How do you feel about your ability to walk away from your business and sell it for maximum value right now? So put down your answer quickly. 1 totally dissatisfied up to 5 totally satisfied. Okay, time for a reality check. Quickly add up your scores from each of the questions and see what you get. Here's the reality. If you scored less than 15 out of 25, your business is pretty much totally dependent on you and sounds like it's fairly typical of the ones we've been talking about so far. If you manage to score up to 20, you still have lots of room for improvement. If you scored over 20, you aren't being real, or you wouldn't be on this call. So you know who you are and what you scored yourself, and it's important for you to find out how to change it. From my experience, I'd have to say there's a pretty good chance you're making most, if not all, of these mistakes. And that's what is affecting your outcomes in business and the reason you're so dissatisfied with how it is performing for you. If you've read my book, Cracking the Code, you will know what the mistakes are. But let's quickly recap to make sure we understand their effects. The first one is having a short-term focus. Most business owners lack clarity about their long-term goals for the business and consequently get trapped in short-term focus where they operate reactively rather than proactively. Instead of taking the business where they want to go, they get caught up in what is happening around them and start to operate reactively. The focus drifts towards survival rather than success. This often ends up with great skill at putting out fires, but the reality is that the fires are due to operating reactively rather than proactively. The business owner's existence becomes all about whatever is most urgent and screaming for attention. Too often the immediate problem gets fixed, but nothing is done about the cause of the problem because that lacks urgency. There's always something more urgent to attend to, often as a result of not fixing the cause of the problem in the first place. This endless cycle is what keeps the business owner trapped. A natural extension of short-term focus is reactive marketing. Without a clear goal of business growth or a clear objective to achieve, the survival mode of operation tends to mean that marketing or advertising is about maintaining a level of sales that is comfortable for the business, instead of designing marketing processes that lead to sustainable growth. Instead of that, there's an up and down cycle where marketing is switched on when sales slow down and then turned off when it's too busy and everyone's getting stressed with too much work to do. Consequently, the business never is allowed to grow to a point where the owner can employ enough support to allow them to break free of the dependency they've created within the business. It becomes a self-perpetuating cycle that entrenches the dependency on the owner and creates a revenue plateau that seems almost impossible to break through. Ineffective delegation is another result of operating reactively. Typically, the choice to employ a new person is made under the pressure of growing sales and at the point of stress where the owner says they just can't put off getting someone else to help with the workload. But employing someone when it's busy is the worst possible time to employ anyone. They are typically thrown into the deep end to help sort out the chaos, which means they don't get time to settle in and learn the way things work. The consequences of this are frustration and disappointment all round. To make matters worse, most business owners don't set up the environment for the new person to be successful. Most business owners hope they employ someone with enough skill, experience and nous to come in and start working at speed straight away. And they do this without providing adequate induction and training and still hope to be successful. They set themselves up for disaster, and often the new person doesn't measure up to the expectations, or they leave because they don't want the pressure of the environment they find themselves thrown into. Another typical mistake is trying to grow a business without putting in place adequate control systems. It's a bit like flying blind. Without the reports that tell what's happening and how the business is performing, the business owner is lulled into the feeling that activity is all important. However, there's no way to tell which activities are actually making money or helping the business progress. Every decision is made by gut feel, which some people pride themselves on, but as the statistics show, it isn't a very reliable way to run a business successfully. The fifth mistake is trying to do it all yourself. I'm referring to the way most business owners try to build their businesses without actually getting advice or input from successful role models. They may take advice from accountants and other friends in business, but the advice is usually about how to run a normal business rather than a successful business. We can see from the evidence what the normal methods achieve. The real problem here is not knowing what they don't know. If you don't know what you don't know, you can't get advice. But when you don't know what you don't know, you operate in complete ignorance about things that successful business owners pay attention to every day. The result is that most business owners manage to survive, while the top 5% manage to succeed. In fact, according to Dun & Bradstreet, the reason for the failure of 90% of businesses comes down to one thing: a lack of business knowledge on the part of the business owners. Trying to do it all yourself is probably the most critical mistake business owners make, because the lack of the critical knowledge you need to grow your business is keeping you from achieving your goals. And worse, it's keeping you trapped, frustrated, unfulfilled and undercompensated, and working harder than you ever really have to if you got it right. All you need is a little bit of help to point you in the right direction. So if that's the bad news, what's the good news? How did the top 5% do it differently and more successfully? Let's take a look at some examples. Each of these well-known firms started out as a small business, but the owners of these businesses somehow beat the odds and grew their enterprises into worldwide success stories. Why did these business owners break through the typical growth barriers that keep the other 95% of business owners trapped in their businesses? The first thing to notice about these successful businesses is that the owners at some point decided that they were going to be business owners rather than self-employed. Another way to say it is that where most business owners are business operators, the successful owners become business orchestrators. The next thing to notice is that having made that decision, The focus was then on how to create the business as a machine that provides the services and creates profits, without the owner having to be part of the equation. To achieve these objectives, the owners had to avoid the 5 critical mistakes that almost everyone else makes. How did they do that? Successful entrepreneurs plan for success and create their enterprises around a clear vision and culture of excellence. They establish clear differences between how they operate and how their competitors are perceived by the market. I like to tell the story of how Michael Dell started building computers in his university dorm room. Very soon, he decided his future was in building computers rather than completing his university degree. Do you know what his goal was when he made the decision to go into business seriously? Anyone heard of a company called IBM? His goal was to beat IBM. At the time, IBM was the dominant computer company in the world. Computers had to be IBM compatible. What about Nike? When Buck Knight, Nike's founder, started Nike, there was a major player in the athletic footwear market. Does anyone know who that was? Adidas at the time dominated the market that Nike was entering, but nonetheless, Knight set out to beat Adidas. While it may seem that Nike is not a professional service firm, you need to look at what Nike really is. Nike is not a manufacturer. Nike doesn't make shoes or clothes. Nike is a marketing company that sells shoes and clothes and outsources all its production. You need to think differently to the norm if you want to be successful. Both these guys and many other successful business owners succeeded because they had a clear objective in mind when they started their businesses, and they created strategies and plans to achieve these goals. Rather than just manage to survive and operate in a reactive manner like most business owners, the successful develop a clear goal, create their plan, and then work their plan until they succeed. And when you do that, you can succeed big time. The problem that exists for most business owners is that they fail to plan, and that leaves them in a state where all they can do is be reactive. The real problem is that all the urgent things you need to do to survive are in your face, but the things you need to do to build a business for success are never defined. People who are busy trying to react to keep all the urgent things under control often tell me they don't have time to work on their businesses. But the reality is, you don't really know what to do to work on creating long-term success unless you have done the planning and created a clear plan of action. Therefore, the short-term urgencies become your only focus. But tell me, if you clearly knew what you had to do to achieve long-term success in your business, and you could see how that would eliminate your short-term issues, which would you choose to do? Work in a planned, proactive way, or continue to operate in a short-term reactive mode? Would you make the time to do what you had to do to succeed? Put your answers in the comment box and let me see what you would choose. Okay. Yep, thanks. Thank you. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Liz. Thanks, Rob. I'm glad to see so many of you making the wise choice. There wouldn't be much point continuing this webinar if you didn't. You need to be proactive and strategic in marketing. Being proactive is about making things happen. The really successful businesses make things happen. There's no waiting and hoping something will happen, like hoping a customer may call with an inquiry. The really successful business is always working to generate a customer response through powerful, systematic, proactive marketing methods. They also operate strategically so that they differentiate themselves from competitors. If you look at the way most successful companies operate, they position themselves in the market in a way that makes their competitors irrelevant. Are your competitors irrelevant or a constant irritation? If they're a pain in the neck, perhaps you need to take a different approach. The top 5% know clear interactions between people, and good relationships are essential to productivity. So they therefore develop effective communication processes. These include job descriptions, operations manuals, work instructions and appraisal systems to ensure that expectations about an employee's role in the business are effectively communicated and understood, and that the employee's performance results are fed back and effectively worked through to the satisfaction of each party. Delegation can then occur without frustration and antagonism. If you're going to build a business that works without you, you have to develop and empower your employees to do what you currently do and have the responsibility to make the decisions you now make. That transformation is probably the most difficult for most small business owners, but it's the key to ultimate success. You can't be free from your business until you succeed here. The top 5% do it, not because they're smarter than you, but because they follow proven successful methods that work. Successful entrepreneurs develop effective control systems through monitoring key performance indicators to keep track of where they are. This extends from basic financial statements that keep you in touch financially to non-financial measures that keep track of productivity and efficiency in many areas of your business. The controls are like a business cockpit, where the business owner can keep track of the business just like a pilot in a modern aircraft. Do you operate your business by the seat of the pants like the old day pilots in their open cockpit planes, or are you using the type of system you have when you fly an FA-18? Which one is likely to be more effective? You need performance reports that tell you when you're on track and off track, so that when your performance starts to deviate from where you want to be, you can make adjustments and get back on track before you're off track for too long. The top 5% look for people who can help them lead a business through the various growth phases. There are significant changes that need to be made to the structure of any business as it transitions through each stage of growth. Many business owners are not aware of these transition points, and hitting the growth barriers appears to take many by surprise. As a result, they often remain stuck at the barrier and may struggle to ever find a way through. Top operators acknowledge that they don't know it all and are willing to find and pay for expert help. Running on autopilot is only possible when every part of the business operates according to a system. It also means you must have competent people in key positions who know what they are doing and are accountable for doing it right. In my studies of successful businesses and in my own experience, I've discovered that there is a 7-step process to building a business that works, so that it has the capability to provide wealth and freedom by working on autopilot. I will outline those steps now, but I go into them in a lot more detail in the programs that we use with our clients. One thing you must realise is that this system is responsible for transforming the businesses of owners who are experiencing the same frustrations and lack of results from their businesses as you may be right now. Using this system, they took their businesses from dependent, life-sucking monsters to successful, profitable, self-sustaining autopilot businesses that freed them to enjoy their business and their life. The key realization here is that if you're experiencing these frustrations and limitations, the problem is not you. It's not you. The problem is the approach you are taking in running your business now. It's not you, it's your approach. So if you can change your approach, you can change your results. That's why this 7-step system works so well. It's all about changing your approach to building your business so that you can model the approach of the top 5% and transform your business into one that works without you. Before we go to the system, let me just say a quick word about my experience with normal business coaching methods and consultancy approaches, because I've worked with both, and my reflection on both those methods is that they don't provide the full answer. Yes, they can help to improve and overcome the specific mistake you're focusing on, but they don't attend to the fundamental problem, which is the approach to business. It's like working on a symptom instead of solving the real problem. That's why our 7-step system is so effective. It works on the real problem and changes the approach as well as overcoming the mistakes that the business owners make. Let's take a look at how it works. The First step of the process is to take charge of your situation by assessing your current state of affairs. You need to identify what is working for you in the way you run your business and what isn't. A lot of this has to do with your own leadership capabilities, in particular your attitude, skills and knowledge. When you take charge of your situation, you stop being a victim and start to be proactive about doing what is required to get the results you want. You need to work out what you're doing well and how to do more of that, what isn't working and how to eliminate those things, and what you should be doing that you currently aren't doing, and then learn how to put those things into your management practices. You end up with a lot of things that need to change, but how do you know what to prioritise? That's where the second step is important, because once you know where you are starting from, you need to get clear about where you want to go and what you want your business to look like. The planning step is a process of discovery and identification where you define your vision and mission for your business and then develop the strategies that make your business unique and superior to your competition. You work out how to overcome the issues you discovered in step 1 and put it all together into an action plan that prioritises all the projects and development activities you need to do over time, with everything laid out in a schedule or like a blueprint for action. The next 4 steps can take place sequentially or concurrently, depending on the priorities. For many businesses, getting more customers and sales is necessary to be able to fund the growth, so that step often comes next. These steps are all about systemization. In the area of sales and marketing, it's important to build a sales escalator so that when you get a new customer, you don't just let them disappear never to return. You want to make sure you're able to have something else for them to buy and to keep them coming back frequently so that they enjoy the experience and become fans and start to bring their friends to you as well. Everything about those stages can be systemized and many of them automated so you don't have to be involved. The next step is to create systems around your operating processes so that you eliminate the dependency on you. Systems and processes are simply your thinking in advance. Every part of your operation needs to be thought out and documented so that anyone can understand how to do it. This seems like a big task, and it is, but it is critical because doing this once frees you up from having to do the thinking and decision making for your employees over and over again. When you have the operating system sorted out, you can then start to create the systems and processes you need to empower your team and develop them into self-reliant operators. This requires a transformation from the informality of operating like a small business to putting in place structures and support mechanisms that require greater formality and discipline. It's a bit like taking an untrained troop of warriors and giving them the procedures and training that gets them operating your business with military precision. The next step involves creating your feedback mechanisms and information systems that enable you to stay informed about business performance and maintain control of operations without having to continually be around to see what is happening all the time. The right control systems enable you to keep your finger on the pulse when you are anywhere in the world and free you to be a leader and director of your business rather than keeping you involved as a hands-on manager. The final step then, once you have all these systems in place, is to break free without fear. It's a gradual handing over of responsibility and stepping back to allow others to run your business while you gain the confidence that it isn't all going to fall apart without you. When it's done, you have a business that works so well that you don't have to. When you get to this point of your business being on autopilot, you have 3 options. You can sell the business for maximum value, or you can retire while you live off the profits. Or perhaps the most exciting option is that you can expand the business quickly by replicating the successful business model you've developed. This opens up enormous opportunities for growing your prosperity while providing the fulfillment of extending your impact to new territories. Do you really understand now that this is how a business should be run if you really want to be successful? And not just self-employed, still having all the pressures and having to be tied to the business for it to succeed. Let's check on the results achieved by 3 of the clients who've taken this journey through this 7-step process so that you can see some real examples of how people just like you transform their business to give them prosperity and freedom. Firstly, let me tell you about Helene, who ran a business as a remuneration consultant, and many of her clients were large companies. Before we started working with Helene, she had just taken over full control of the business after buying out her partner. She had 7 consultants working with her in the business and things were going well. It was a good business, but what was happening was that Helene was working at least 60 hours a week at the office and then took work home as well. She was a young professional mother whose husband had taken the opportunity to stay home to look after their young child. Helene wanted to do well in business, but she also wanted to spend more time with her family and to have a second child as well. She couldn't see how that could happen the way things were, so she came to me for help. After going through this program, Helene was able to get the business operating more strategically and ended up working with more high-profile clients on larger projects that a team could handle more effectively. This meant that she not only grew the sales and profits with less effort, she ended up taking almost 12 months off while the business virtually ran itself, while she had baby number 2 to look after. A great result. Similarly, Damien owned an IT consulting services business with 5 employees. He was working 6 days a week, and while the business was profitable, he was not making enough money for him to achieve his ultimate financial goals. He had used the services of a business coach before, but while it helped with advertising strategies and getting more inquiries, he was still working as hard as ever, and many of the sales inquiries were not who he was really wanting as clients. During our program, working with Damien, we quickly identified how to make his people more productive, which immediately increased sales and profits by over $17,000 per month from day one. The outcome was spectacular. For the first time for ages, Damien was able to take weekends off completely without worrying about the business, and sales results grew quickly over the next year. Damien has now grown his business and added an operations manager, which means the business is no longer totally dependent on Damien. He has also moved into larger, more modern premises and is also contemplating expansion plans to take the business to other regions. Liam Dunn and Rick Hardy-Jones were partners in the commercial shop fitting operation. They were also working more than 50 to 60 hours each week and finding the business difficult to grow further while operating in a very competitive market. The projects they were winning were very price sensitive, which meant that if anything went wrong, they didn't make money on the project, and things too often went wrong. The company had some very strong elements and specific skills which weren't being utilised to their full extent. During our program, we found a way for the company to present these strengths in a much more strategic manner, while they also created better systems to ensure the work was done with fewer mistakes and greater efficiency. They worked harder on marketing and developing long-term strategic client relationships, which enabled them to do more work with their skills, gave them an advantage over competitors. The result was that now they were frequently winning much more profitable contracts and were enjoying being able to work much less with the confidence that their team was performing at high levels with better quality. Liam even confided to me that he felt a bit guilty that he didn't have to work so hard anymore. It seemed wrong to him that he could have a very successful, profitable business that required so little work. That's how much of a difference this process made to his business and his life. Let's just do a quick recap on what we've learned so far. We've seen that there are 2 types of business owner, the business operator and the business orchestrator, and the way they both operate determines what they can achieve in their businesses. The operator becomes the hub of the business and tends to let things happen. They're often a victim of their circumstances. On the other hand, the orchestrator takes charge and becomes a master of their own destiny. They operate proactively according to a plan where the operator is reactive without a clear plan. Because of the lack of planning, they create a situation where the business controls them, and they find it difficult to get past a certain level of business growth and profit levels, and they're limited in how much value they can create in their business, making it difficult to sell. The orchestrator, meanwhile, is able to create a business that works on autopilot so that it is unlimited with growth and profit potential, and maximizes its value because it is an attractive option to either sell or expand. Right now, you've got a decision to make. Knowing what you know now, will you choose to stay the way you are and put up with the frustration of working so many hours for limited rewards you get? Or will you decide that it's time you got smart and choose to become what you always wanted to be when you started out in business? I believe that it's not really your fault that you feel the way you do now and that your business isn't all you dreamed it would be. I don't doubt that you've got the right attitude. You've worked hard and done the best you could, but you haven't been given the right advice. You've only had the advice that takes you toward the norm. You haven't been given the advice that can set you free. You haven't been given the advice that allows you to play a smarter game. You've only been advised about becoming a better business operator, but no one has shown you how to become a business orchestrator. If you want that to change, now is your opportunity. You see, even if you had the skills and knowledge to be a good business operator, you've been limited because you lack the skills and knowledge to become a business orchestrator. And if you want to change your business and the results you're getting, you have to start with changing your skills and knowledge. Nothing else will do it. When you think about it, there is nothing in your life that gives you the opportunity to create the freedom and prosperity you want like your own business. But your business can either be your biggest frustration or your biggest ticket to freedom, depending on what you choose now. It's important you realize the stakes you're playing for because your business success will be the single biggest factor in the money you make and your overall level of wealth. It's also going to determine whether ultimately you're free to enjoy your life or you're shackled on the sidelines constantly having to work. It's going to determine the amount of time you get to spend with your family in addition to all the things you can provide for them. Think about how proud you'd be to give your family all the finer things in life and be able to spend the time with them to watch them enjoy it. So for all those reasons, your destiny hinges on the success or failure of your business. Think about it. Your income depends on it. Your self-esteem is influenced by it. Your lifestyle is determined by it. Your family is relying on it. Your free time is controlled by it. Your happiness is derived from what you're doing in it. And with the stakes that high, with your wealth, your happiness, your freedom, and your family all impacted by your business performance, doesn't it only make sense to approach your business the right way, the way of the business orchestrator? But before we wrap this up, here's a very blunt question for you. Based on how you rated your business acumen earlier, is your current rating in line with its importance? Have you given enough thought to really increasing your entrepreneurial ability, your knowledge of what it takes to grow a business, to create an autopilot business and to get really wealthy from a business? Because this is really your entrepreneurial intervention. You see, before this webinar, you were just like me during my years of struggle. What I mean is that we both didn't know about the frustrations and limitations that being a business operator creates. But now, if you decide to never go back to the business operator mindset and instead focus on being the best business orchestrator you can be, then it's time to claim your just reward, the freedom, the income, and the success you had in mind when you first started thinking about being in business. That's why I don't want to see you let this opportunity to make the money you want to make and lead the life you want to live slip by. The question is, having made that decision, how will you get the skills and knowledge you need to become the business orchestrator you want to be? Now, in just a few moments, I'm going to let you know how you can get the free bonus I offered just for staying on the webinar right to the end. That bonus is a way for you to start to get the knowledge you need to learn how to take on the business orchestrator mindset. We're going to invite you to spend a day with us in an intimate workshop setting with a small group of like-minded professionals who want to break free of the shackles of the business operator challenges. But right now, you are fairly certain that you need to take your business to another level where it works for you instead of because of you. But there are other key questions you always need to be asking yourself as you do this so that you create the business that you really want. Question number 1, what do I really want to achieve in business and what will it stand for? Before you start to work on anything, you need to have clarity about what you're creating and what it should be like when you finish. Having clarity about what you stand for will also attract the right clients and have your people engaged fully in achieving your goals. Question number 2, what sort of clients do I really want to work with? If you had a choice, and I know you do, wouldn't you ideally like to work continuously with the absolute best clients who know that you are the best solution to their needs and are committed to making the relationship work well for both of you? That's a question you need to answer so that you can enjoy your work and have the fulfillment of seeing your clients get the results they want in the best possible way. Question number 3, what kinds of services will my clients buy? Will we offer high-end, high-quality services or quick and efficient, low-cost service, or a combination of both? What do our best clients really want? How can we deliver exactly what they need so that price is never an issue? Question number 4, how do I create and sell the ideal services and programs? How do we design the ideal programs and services that deliver the client's ultimate best solution? And how do we present this solution in a way that buying from us is a no-brainer? Question number 5, how do I get my people engaged and fully productive? How do I create the environment to ensure my people are totally motivated to produce their best work and are totally focused on getting the best results? Question number 6, what should I focus on doing day to day? As my business changes, what is my role? How can I play my part in getting the best results for the business so that it works without me? Question number 7, how do I run the business and enjoy a great lifestyle? That's what it's all about, isn't it? Having the business produce the prosperity and freedom that you've always wanted. These are all important questions, and I'm sure you're wondering what your answers are. I want to give you all the best help I can to assist you to find out. So for that reason, I'm going to give you the opportunity to explore these questions and find out your answers by offering you access to our Cracking the Code workshop absolutely free of charge. This workshop could easily be sold for $2,500, but we have a philosophy in our business that we want our clients to get results before they pay. You've already had tremendous value from us with the information we've given you so far, but we want to take it even further. You know, you're obviously really serious about improving your business, and I just want to take some time to acknowledge you for that. Most people will never take the time to educate themselves the way you have today. You're online, you're watching this, and you really have the commitment and determination to do this now. Would you like us to help you understand your specific business challenges and discover what is keeping your business dependent on you instead of working for you and giving you prosperity and freedom? We're happy to explore the challenges and review how you can answer the questions I just posed for you. I offer this support because as business consultants, we work with business owners who have the potential to have much more profitable and successful businesses, but are just stuck in a rut because they don't know what to do to leverage their strengths and assets. And there's a good possibility that if you can see what's holding you back and have some clarity around what you could do differently, you will make breakthroughs you never thought possible. And if you find the concepts we discover in this workshop with you valuable, you might want to become a client and join one of our programs. The page where you can apply for our Cracking the Code workshop is at businesssuccesssystems.com.au/events. So you can go there right now to register. There's nothing for you to buy on that page. If you want to know more about our programs and services, you can check them out on the website. But right now, all I want you to do is have the opportunity to discover how to make the real breakthroughs in your business by spending one day at the workshop and looking at every one of your business challenges and finding the answers to the critical questions. Here's what will happen after you register for the workshop. You'll get a call from one of our consultants who will run through a few quick questions with you just to make sure you're going to get real value from the workshop and that it won't be a waste of your time. If you're a good fit, we will send you your ticket in the post with all the details you need to attend the workshop and get the most value from it. During the workshop, we'll take you through a process to uncover the major challenges that are holding you back from achieving what you want in your business and help you understand the impact they have. Then you'll go through the key drivers of business performance so that you can better answer those critical questions we just looked at and know specifically the areas you need to pay most attention to. By the end of the session, you'll have a pretty clear idea of what you need to work on and what you need to do to make positive changes and start the transformation from frustration to freedom. If at that point you'd like to know how we could work together to accelerate the process for you, you can speak to a consultant about that, but they won't be there to put pressure on you with a big high-pressure sales pitch. They'll only show you how we can work if there is a real opportunity to get some quick results, and only if you ask. You don't need to worry about not being able to afford us, because we have a number of different programs at different price points to suit you wherever you are at right now. Okay, so if you think this workshop sounds right for you, just go ahead and register now. If you still wonder if it's right for you, that's okay. We've got more to cover right now, and I want to teach you some really important stuff. I want to wrap this up by pulling together the three main success principles that emerge from the concepts we covered today. The first is that success comes when you model what works. You don't want to go trying to reinvent the wheel when there are already people out there who've achieved what you want and can show you how to do it without the costly mistakes and without the stress of guesswork. Stick to the tried and true principles that are known to work and get the help from someone who already knows what to do. Secondly, you need to be absolutely clear about what you really want and what you stand for. It's just like Alice in Wonderland. If you don't know where you're going, any path will do. When you're clear about what you want, you'll find it easier to discover the right pathway and to follow it all the way to success. Third on the list is to be committed. Nothing of value is achieved without commitment. No one said this was easy. It's all about overcoming the challenges that completely overwhelm most people, so don't think it's going to happen overnight or without effort. This is no get-rich-quick scheme and no easy path to riches. If that's what you want, keep playing the lottery and hope you get lucky. But the real key is that when you commit, you will keep going until you succeed. You will commit to learning what you need to learn, but more importantly, to putting those learnings into action by implementing them into your business. That's what it takes to be successful. It's not necessarily about working harder. It's about knowing what the most effective things are to work on, and then working on those things instead of the ineffective things you work on now. It's about being committed to doing the right things instead of continuing to do the things that don't work for you. Commitment gets it done. Okay, let's take stock here. I know that many of you on this webinar, having stayed with me until now, will resonate with the things I've been talking about, and you have challenges in your business that you're not sure how to overcome. Maybe you've run a successful business, but your growth has plateaued and the business still won't run effectively without you. Let's face it, that describes about 90% or more of businesses out there, so more than likely that includes you. It's time to get serious about fixing those issues instead of putting up with them because you don't know how to solve them. It's time to get help. There are a few reasons why we're offering you our Cracking the Code workshop for free, and it's time to go and register on our website. Let me explain. We get a lot of complaints from potential clients that they have used a business coach or consultant before and they really didn't get good results or much value from that. It just ended up being a costly exercise. Rather than tell you how different we are, we would rather give everyone the opportunity to experience the difference and see for yourself how much more relevant and practical our solution is. But beyond that, we strongly believe in the statement by Zig Ziglar that if you help enough people get what they want, you will ultimately get what you want. So this is really our way of giving maximum value to the market so that you can start to get results in your business without outlaying a lot of money with the risk that nothing will happen. And when you start to get better results in your business and start to experience higher cash flows, you may be prepared to invest some of that in using us to further accelerate your results. But before we go further, you need to know that we can't help everyone. We can only be of benefit to you if you're willing to be open-minded to see opportunities and willing to learn new ways to improve the way you manage your business and sales activities. The workshop will be perfect if you understand that there are no magic bullets to business success, but that you need to work hard with a commitment to build systems that create success instead of hoping that doing the same thing day after day will get you better results. This workshop is right for you if you care about giving your clients and customers the best products and services you can produce and be willing to see your employees as an asset instead of a problem. This workshop will be a waste of time if you're the sort of person who just wants to blame the government or the economy for your struggles. Don't bother if you just want everything to be easy or don't want to change. Stay away if you're not willing to learn the success secrets of the business leaders who've overcome the same challenges you face to create extraordinary business success. If you're serious about getting better results and changing your business so that it works for you instead of you working for it, I commend you. In the Cracking the Code workshop, we'll take you through a highly interactive session to really understand where you are now and what is holding you back. We'll help you gain real clarity around the issues and challenges that are preventing your business from growing and getting the sales and profits you want. We'll also help you identify the exact challenges you have with your people and your operations that are causing your business to perform well below its potential. Then we'll take you through a process of understanding what you need to do to get the results you want. We'll show you how to tackle the challenges by understanding the key areas of your business and the management processes you need to address. We want you to walk out of the workshop with something of real value so that you can start working to turn your business into the successful, high-performance machine that it can be, to help you get your life back and have a business that works for you, not just because you're always there to keep it running. So here's the deal. If you're ready to take action, go to businesssuccesssystems.com.au/events to register. If it works out that you want to work with us beyond that workshop to accelerate your results, that's great. But the main thing is to give you the opportunity to discover how to start the journey of transforming your business from one that keeps you working to one that works for you. So if you want to take what you learn and then just go and work on that yourself, that's okay too. But you want to give yourself the opportunity to find out what's possible. So take the opportunity now while it's knocking on your door. How would you like to fast track your growth and development and have hands-on help to grow your business to where you'd like it to be? How would you like to get the results in 1 or 2 years like Helene Higby did, like Damien Battersby did, or like Liam Dunn and Rick Hardy-Jones did with their businesses with our help? Or how about Murray Deans, a chartered accountant who said that our program immediately transformed his business so that he could work 4 days a week and helped him make an extra $400,000 profit in the first year? Or Sarah Sarank, who went from working 70 hours a week with no hope of working less to within 12 months taking the next 12 months off to have a baby and look after her daughter from home, while the business continued to grow and thrive with very little of her time and attention. If that sounds like you, then you're clearly serious about transforming your business and leveraging your time and income. And that's why our business leverage program might be a good fit for you. So grab the opportunity to find out during our Cracking the Code workshop, or you'll always wonder what might have been. Thanks so much for spending the time together on our webinar today, and I sincerely hope that you got great value from it and that you go and register for our workshop where we can touch base and I can introduce myself personally. So I hope to see you then.